In his book, Don't Make Me Think, Steve Krug advises website developers to, I quote, "Get rid of half of the words on each page, then get rid of half of what's left. It makes the useful content more prominent, it makes pages shorter." This idea now seems to be a widely accepted law of conversion and seems to be supported by findings in traditional psychology too. For example, in a famous experiment described by Simon Laham in his book The Joy of Sin, when presented with more choice, 24 types of jam in this case, people were less likely to buy than when only 6 types of jams were displayed for sale. Basically, the vast amount of choice led to people making no decision at all. So, it makes sense that less is more is widely adopted by SEOs, paid search and social consultants, digital marketers and website designers. To understand the extent of this idea, just have a look at any conversion optimization tool, where all templates inspire simplicity and very little text or distractions from the main calls to action. However, this obsession with simplicity is too simple, even naive in a way. The less is more idea assumes that people reach your page either via organic or search and are already in a buying mindset, which implies the more text or information would distract them from the main CTA. So people reach your splash page and happily take action with no more information than a couple of paragraphs about the product. Moreover, in addition to the noise-free approach, let's not forget the big Buy Now button, so clearly displayed on many of these landing pages. However, there is plenty of research to indicate that most people are in fact not in a buying mindset when reaching your website. For example, a report by Interbrand, described by Graham Jones, shows that customers spend increasing amounts of time on researching various websites before making a decision. And in spite of all the talk about the mobile overtaking desktop, you may be surprised that 97% of shopping carts are abandoned when accessed via mobile. Moreover, research carried out at Pennsylvania State University found that about 90% of user searches on Google are informational or navigational, with only 10% of searchers being in a transactional mindset. Basically, these reports underline the fact that people are spending more time than ever in a research phase. They seek information and compare alternatives, features, prices, and so forth. With this in mind, you should not really take the traditional buy now button advice too seriously. In fact, most people are visiting your website for research purposes, rather than to buy something, or at least not at this point. There is, however, a catch. We cannot simply generalize and assume that the entire 90% of the visitors who are in a research mindset will need or want to read more text. Research by Gary Klein, reported in his book Sources of Power, suggests that experts make decisions in a different way than less experienced people. Specifically, Klein emphasizes that experts generally make intuitive decisions that are based on their extensive practice and experience. By contrast, less experienced people scrutinize more, compare more, and pay more attention. Applying this idea to online shoppers, we can see how experienced buyers know instinctively what to look for in a product or offer. In their case, simplicity is key, not much info is required, and less really is more. By contrast, less experienced shoppers tend to seek more information, more text, and more resources on the page. So in their case, less is definitely not more. How come, you may ask? Well, we scrutinize unfamiliar websites, products or brands more, and this initial step is managed by System 2. However, as we become more experienced in performing a task, our cognitive input reduces, performing the task becomes easier and more intuitive, and ultimately System 1 takes over from System 2, performing what is now a familiar task. The level of expertise or familiarity your audience has with your product, service or brand is important. This will dictate your content and conversion optimization strategy. For example, if your audience has plenty of experience of your product or category of products, then less is more may apply, as your audience already know what to look for, and more text or resources may be of little interest to them. By contrast, when your audience is less experienced, more info is generally required. We are simply talking about user intent here, guys. If you think about it, this is why Google varies the amount of text it ranks in various industries. Google simply acknowledges that different industries have different audiences, different user intent, and different needs of volume and depth of information. For example, a report by Searchmetrics found that desktop content is generally at least 1/3 longer than mobile content. Also, the number of words per page of the top-ranked websites varied by industry. So, if you're looking for a lawyer, you may not need a page explaining everything there is to know about legislation. You just want a lawyer. By contrast, if you are looking to buy an exotic adventure or tour, you may want more detail on what the experience includes. Hence, no need to get super stressed about the green color of your Yoast SEO plugin or similar tools that are using static benchmarks like keyword density, minimum of 300 words of copy per page, and so forth. We're stopping here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next session.